What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
And today on The Great Debaters, we got a little take it way back on this movie soundtrack history, man. Compton's Most Wanted MC8 edition, The Great Debaters. Alright, everybody, so Amir and I are back here on The Great Debaters, and today we're going to be talking about songs from two of the most important soundtracks in rap history. We got the Boyz-N-The and the Menace to Society soundtrack, but we're going to be focusing on two songs in particular. The first, Compton's Most Wanted, Coming Up in the Hood, Growing Up in the Hood, and we got Straight Up Menace from Menace to Society soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
So for Growing Up in the Hood, man, this song was the single off Boyz-N-The. Lots of hoods going on here. But the thing that I thought was interesting was that obviously they have other bigger name artists that are on the soundtrack, and they went with Compton's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Which I thought was amazing, and then the song itself I thought was phenomenal what Eiht and Chill did on there. So for you, Amir, looking at this lineup, first, why do you think they picked Growing Up in the Hood?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
You know what actually kind of just popped in my head, and
What's that?
I don't know if it has any validity to it, but is it possible that it could be a slight jab at NWA, choose another group from Compton, considering this is Ice Cube's quote-unquote kind of soundtrack? Is that a possibility?
I don't think so, because they would have made How to Survive in South Central if they wanted to do that.
Okay.
They would have made that more the push, in my opinion.
I don't know, it just popped in my head, so I was like, maybe. But to answer your first question, I'm not sure, aside from the fact that the song is incredible, you know.
Okay. Well, as far as the song itself, one of the many things that I've always liked about Compton's Most Wanted was that they really showed the highs and the lows of the gang-banging life and didn't glamorize it. And that's definitely clear on this song. You know, we have a lot of negative things happen to both Eiht and Chill in the song. Yeah, a lot of violence, a lot of, chaos surrounding them and what actually happens to them in the song. So what did you take from the verses in the song?
So basically what you said, Eiht pulls out a date, MC8 pulls out a date where he mentions 84, I'm assuming to deal with the crack epidemic, and he's slanging and he kills his first 8-ball and stuff like that. But one thing that to really talk about your question was in the second verse where Chill goes in and he's mentioning, selling, and this is kind of more when he's on top of the game is the second verse, right. And he has the clout, as he so says it. Come time where the closing verse where Chill's in there, and he ends the song saying he has no clout. I thought that was very clever, right. How he combined, or not.
He flipped it.
He flipped it, and in the end where he says he has no clout, he ends up getting shot by the police when he's trying to flush his rocks,
right,
to get rid of the evidence. So I thought, it shows, as we've seen a lot in rap, gangster rap songs especially, you see the pros and then the cons, kind of like as we discussed in a previous video, where you mentioned Ice-T, where he goes in the pain, and he's talking about how it's fun in the beginning, but it's pain in the end. And this is kind of exhibited on this song, especially with Chill's verses, and Eiht goes in as well.
And I think complementing them was the production. I really thought the samples they used and just kind of that heavy, deep, dark sound that Compton's Most Wanted became known for. Starting off with the Compton compilation, but moving on into, It's a Compton Thing, and then this album, Straight Checking Them, on which Growing Up in the Hood also appears. So it's on two things, for those that don't know, the Straight Checking Them album by Compton's Most Wanted, and then also the Boyz-N-The soundtrack. So for me, I just thought this was an amazing song, and it showed the fact that Eiht and Chill were able to really not only humanize, but then also take you to these, places where the gang members were living and make it feel like you were right there with them, and then also show you the repercussions and ramifications of what happens when you live that life. And I thought that Growing Up in the Hood was awesome.
Yeah, man, I'm happy you mentioned that beat, because the change-ups and the bringbacks, and then...
So that's Slippin' Unknown.
Slippin' Unknown, man.
Amazing combination as usual. And I think that's something else, man. Compton's Most Wanted doesn't get enough, I think, recognition for their production either. You know, Eiht, obviously throughout his career, and then Chill while he was, out and in the group, they did a great job rapping, but I think the beats for Compton's Most Wanted were always amazing to me. And this is another prime example. Now, that being said, we got to move on to the second track, the Straight Up Menace, which was from the Menace to Society soundtrack. So, this was really the introduction of Eiht as a solo artist.
Oh, yeah.
And, from Compton's Most Wanted, Chill wasn't around, and so Eiht had already assumed this on Music to Drive By as the rapper of Compton's Most Wanted, but now we're seeing him take the spotlight as a solo artist, and I thought it was an amazing way for him to launch his career with Straight Up Menace from the Menace to Society soundtrack, and then of course Eiht is in the film and has an amazing role in there. If you guys forgot, go watch it again, and if you've never seen it, be sure to watch Menace to Society. MC Eiht is amazing in there and has a lot of very memorable lines and interactions and actions.
He does. He's funny in that movie too.
So Amir, for you being a Compton's Most Wanted fan and then hearing Eiht as a quote-unquote solo artist here, what did you think of the transition of that, going from being a artist in a group to being, out there on Front Street as a solo artist?
I really thought he pulled it off. Especially because in Straight Checking Him, he's even solo for the most part.
Right.
And Music to Drive By, he's also solo for the most part, with the exception of the feature, the amazing feature. But that song's amazing. But to go to the Menace Society soundtrack and then to his first solo album, I thought he was always great at holding it on his own. This song, and another thing, kind of a side note, I always love how he put Eiht in a lot of the song titles, and he'd switch it up to include his name in there, which I always thought was great, especially with Straight Up Menace. The production on the song, man, is amazing. And it's very different. It's kind of more uplifting, the instrumental, as opposed to Growing Up in the Hood, where it's more dark and hard and a little more fast-paced. This one, it kind of makes me feel like, if I was in his position, that I could get out of the hood just on the instrumentation, but the lyrics are
quite the contrary. So I always thought that the Straight Up Menace song was this paradox. Like you said, the beat is kind of has this uplifting, at least theoretically, sound with the little piano and the twinkles and all that type of stuff, whereas the lyrics, he's talking about as dark and depressing as anything in Compton's Most Wanted, and how getting caught up and not being able to make it, and just how the downfalls of the game is really this one. It's not really positive at all. No. It's really just the negative repercussions of being in that environment and then getting engulfed in it and consumed by it. So I thought that Straight Up Menace, definitely matched the song title, because he's talking about what happens as things go wrong. And, even from a little kid with them putting the brew in his baby bottle and stuff, it was just, it's a very bleak and depressing song lyrically, and yet sonically it's a little more bright and uplifting. So I always thought that was an interesting combination. For you, what did you think of the lyrics?
Man, and just how you said with the brew in the baby bottle, in the beginning, he's talking about how he wanted help, he cried for help, but he couldn't get any, so now he's another victim to the hood. I thought those lyrics right there were so powerful, because it's showing like, he doesn't want to go down that path, and he ends down it anyways, and I thought, especially in relation to the movie and a lot of what was going on there with the Japanese store owners and the Korean store owners. One interesting fact about this song, or part of this song, is they bleeped out the word Jap, which I thought was very interesting, especially with songs like Black Korea, where that was omitted on death certificate in certain areas. That was also omitted. So I found that to be interesting. Dude, this song, just everything about it, and the bridge how it's extended before the third verse I also thought was strong, and dropping parts of the instrumental going to the third verse. Eiht, man.
Yeah, I think MC Eiht is definitely one of the most underrated, underappreciated, and unsung artists in rap history. And these two songs are prime illustrations of that, as are Compton's most wanted and MC Eiht solo albums. So Amir, now that we've gone through each song, it's time to say which one we think is the better of the two. So you going with Growing Up in the Hood, or are you going with Straight Up Menace, and why?
Straight Up Menace for me.
Okay.
It's hard, you know. Similar subject matters, completely different instrumental vibes. I don't know. I think it's a little bit of nostalgia. I don't know. I think I really enjoyed the uplifting vibe of the instrumental.
Okay.
And I also love the storytelling by Eiht on that song. Chill and Eiht did like so well on Growing Up in the Hood, and the production by Slip and Unknown was also great, but I'm giving it the slight edge to the Menace to Society song.
All right, well, we're gonna diverge here. I'm
going
with Growing Up in the Hood, man. I think one, I like the beat more in the sense I like the sampling in the chorus and how they scratch it and bring in the different elements there. And then I think that the beat is just matches what Eiht and Chill are saying so well, and it kind of gives that extra layer to the storytelling. Like, you kind of feel how Chill and Eiht are navigating through these different scenarios that they're portraying, and you know, the bass line or, you know, the sound effects, I think really accent that very well in Growing Up in the Hood. So that's why I'm gonna roll with that one. But that's what I think, and that's what Amir thinks. What do y'all think? Be sure to hit us up in the comment section and let us know what you think about our thoughts. And be sure to also share, like, and subscribe to both Unique Access and Rappin' and Snackin. And we'll hit you guys back in the comment section as always. I'm Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
And check us out, y'all, the great debaters. Like, subscribe, and share.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the DOC, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.